I gotta establish my brand musically. I'm fucking with this, son. What you think?
Hell yeah.
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Mark Dark, and I'm back with another video. If you're new, if you love Wu-Tang, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Like the video and leave your theories, comments, everything down below. Now today we're going to be talking about Wu-Tang and American Saga, Season 3, Episode 6. This is the recap. Now I'm going to try my best to focus on all the key points in this episode. If I miss anything, you guys let me know down below. And I was feeling this one, y'all. I really liked this episode. It was solid. I like this movie type style episode that they did for Ray's first album. We know we got ODB's episode not that long ago, and a lot of people had a lot of stuff to say about that. Some people liked it, some people hated it. I will say this one, it was a banger in my opinion. I really did enjoy this episode, and it was very interesting to see how the storyline was going to go. We know it was based on, Ray's beef that he had with Biggie, as well as the inspirations around his first album. We also saw characters that was inspired by Fat Joe, I believe Big L and Nas in this episode. You guys let me know if y'all saw anybody else. But let's go over the description of the episode. Now the title of the episode is called Criminology, and the description of the episode reads, Raekwon's inspiration behind his first solo album, only built for Cuban links, is examined through the lens of a 90s gangster cinema. So those are the key elements of this episode. We got to see the legendary purple tape. They say back in the 90s, this tape was hard to get. It sold out everywhere. You guys let me know down below if you are an OG Wu-Tang fan. Was you lucky enough to get one of those purple tapes? And if so, do you still have it? I know it is some collectors out there that have things like this. So if you still got it and you a Wu-Tang fan, that's a win-win for you. But let's begin this recap. As I told you guys, I'm going to try to focus on all the key points. If I miss anything, y'all let me know down below. I know I'm probably not going to get everybody's name right because they switched it up for this movie type episode, but I'm going to try my best to work through it. Probably just, stick to the names that we know. Now, the episode starts out with Ray and Ghostface. They're in the middle of the water in Belize, just kicking it, having a good time, living a life. And, they're trying to just come up with inspiration for Ray's first album. He is trying to do things different. We know Ghost was talking about, hey, let's go back to New York. But Ray was talking about how he's tired of doing the same old stuff, and he wants to do this album for New York. You know what I'm saying? He wants to take them on a journey. And then we see the criminology on the screen, and we go into the movie type episode. And of course, we see all types of different characters. Power, he's in the episode, but he's a taxi driver. Ray, he is just getting out the joint, and he has just served a bid, and his name is Lex Diamond. And of course, he wants to get back to his organization and put in that work. Your boy Bobby, he plays Bobby Steels, and he's been shot. So he's like the leader, just like how Wu-Tang is. He's the leader, and they're trying to figure out who shot him. But while he's recovering, Bobby wants, Lex, aka Ray, to step up in the organization. He wants him to be the leader that he know he can be. And, this is his time to shine. And we know Ray wasn't really on it. He's like, man, that's not really my style. But after that conversation, he decided to take Bobby's advice, and he did exactly what he told him to do. We see him and your boy Ghostface, aka Tony Starks. They in the club. Everything seems like it's going good. And Ghostface tells Ray, like, look, you've been, locked up for a while. I had to take care of you. He got him some new kicks. And as we can see, these is the same type of kicks that we see on Ghostface's Iron Man album cover. So I like how they put that in there. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of other things that they put in there that I probably didn't catch. So you Wu-Tang fans down below, y'all let me know all the different things that y'all saw in this episode. Now, you guys is playing lucky hands in this episode, and Ray is trying to figure out what's going on. Like, why are y'all all relaxing? Bobby Steels has been hit. We got to find out who did this. I mean, these guys, they're taking our customers as well. That ain't happening. Now, they end up telling Ray, like, look, man, just chill out, calm down, relax. You know what I'm saying? Because we can't just be going out there getting into beefs with people. We don't even know who did this hit. And they end up bringing in some chicks for him. He had 2 chicks, so he turning up just like ODB was turning up in his episode, and he was having a good time. He was clapping those cheeks, and after he woke up, he's like, man, I got to get to it. You know what I'm saying? I like how they mixed in the drug game and, showed the similarities between the drug game and the rap game. Of course, in this movie type episode, the drugs and the product is basically the music, right? And your boy Ray is trying to think about different ways he can change the game. He ain't trying to do everything like everybody else. Of course, he ended up making the purple tape, the purple product, and he wants to put it out there on the streets. He wants to kill the game, and that's exactly what he ends up doing. Of course, the crew, they was telling him, we don't know about that. We don't know if it's going to hit like that, but his game plan and strategy worked. The streets, they loving it. And as I told y'all, they said back in the 90s, you can barely find these tapes like that because everybody was snatching them up as soon as they hit the street. Now, Ray, he runs into Cap at the club and he's telling him like, look, I could use somebody like you. But Cap tells him, he's trying to stay out of trouble. He has a job working with his uncle as security. But we know he played a major role at the end of the episode when it came to saving Ray and Ghost. Now, we get to Greco, and this guy, he's just a dirty cop, y'all. And he's talking about, I want you to pay me 50 G's a week for protection, to look out for him, and of course, not to be on his back if he ever gets in any type of trouble. And we end up finding out that Bobby Steels was going to have the same type of offer, but Bobby was like, nah, I'm not paying you nothing. But Lex ended up paying him because he didn't want any issues, and he felt like that was the best thing that he can do at that time. Now we get to your girl Cherie, and of course, in this episode, she is still with Ghostface, aka Tony Starks, and she got some issues with him. She wants to go on vacation. She wants to spend, some quality time with him, but he's always out doing something else. She's talking about, I cook all this food, Lex cooks the product, and what does that leave you to do? You don't do nothing but sit up in that strip club all day. That's it. I mean, she was upset. Of course, Lex was telling Tony, like, look, man, you probably should take her on a vacation. And then all of a sudden, we see all these different hits on the organization. We see your boy U-God, Mr. Killer, and Spectre. They all end up getting taken out. Just like that. And you can tell this was an organized hit. Whoever did this had a lot of experience. Whoever did this knew exactly what it was going to be at that particular time. Now, Gary, he ended up getting shot, but he was able to survive. He was protecting Bobby while he was still in the hospital. Luckily, he had a strap on him because if he didn't, it would have been over for both of them just like that. Now, Lex and Tony, they both end up getting hit at the house, but luckily, none of them was shot. It was close, you know what I'm saying? It was close, but this hit was supposed to be on Ghostface. We end up finding out that information later on in the episode from Greco, and he was just pissed off that Lex was getting entirely too powerful. And he ended up having a conversation with him because Lex is trying to figure out who was doing this, who's behind these hits. Of course, Greco ain't gonna give him any information. He don't know who it is. And, Lex is telling him, well, the next time I talk to you, give me some answers, right? So now Ghostface and Ray, they have to figure out who did this, but the whole time it's Greco. He just playing like he don't know anything. Now, Tony and Lex, they end up going out to figure out who did this, and they visit Esco. Now, Esco, in my opinion, I believe he's supposed to be Nas, and we know Nas was right in the center of all this beef. Now, my diehard Wu-Tang fans or hip-hop fans down below, y'all let the people know exactly what this beef was about. Now, I know on the album, Ray does talk about how he felt like certain rappers bite certain rappers' style, and he does mention how, Nas's album cover was taken, right? And this is part of why him and Biggie had issues. Like I said, my Wu-Tang fans down below, y'all let the people know all the details about it because I know it's a lot more to say. But he was not able to get anything out of Esco. They end up going to 139 in Lennox. And this character right here, he's supposed to be based off Big L for what I know. And of course, he tells them the exact same thing. Look, he got too much stuff to be worried about. He don't know who did what, you know what I'm saying? So then they go to another character, and this character is quite obvious, y'all. It's your boy Fat Joe, and he's telling them once again the same thing. You know what I'm saying? He don't know nothing, and he does mention how the Purple Caps is killing the game, which is, of course, Ray's album, and he, says exactly what everybody else says at the end of the conversation. How about you talk to Frank, right? So now they have to go and have a conversation with Frank, one of the girls at the strip joint that was able to get that connection with him to make the call. They meet up with him and they talk about basically the problems, the issues that they had. And we know that Frank is Biggie, and they end up telling him like, look, why are you taking Esco's idea with the girls and the singers? We saw the singers on the stage earlier on in the episode with Esco, and he's like, look, he wasn't the first person with girls singing in the background. Like, it is what it is. And he tells them, like, look, I know why y'all here. Y'all want to know if I, put out those hits. And he tells him he did not do it. He has no reasons to do it, because if he had beef with anybody, he will talk to them straight up. You know what I'm saying? He won't do nothing like that. And even though their product is killing it in the game, he tells them, like, look, it's always like a new up and coming person that starts to take over. But all that means is you got to step up and make better products. So that's exactly what he is saying. He said, of course, some people don't play by the rules, and that's just how the game is. And Lex is like, man, how can I trust you? And Frank is like, well, you don't trust nobody. You know what I'm saying? You don't trust nobody at all. I mean, all he can give him is his word, and that's it. Now, they end up leaving, and we know your boy Tony Starks, he's pissed off. He's like, man, we got to do something. If we got to just shoot up somebody, we got to do it. And he's telling Lex, like, you ain't down for this. Like, what are you doing? And your boy Ray had to check him, like, dude, I just took a bid for you, so you ain't about to tell me what I've been doing or whatever. He wants to make sure he makes the right moves, the smart moves. Now, they end up, noticing a car following them around, and at the time, they didn't know it was a cop. You know what I'm saying? They didn't know this was a cop at all. But we know Ray, he ended up catching him slipping. They pulled him out, took him to the top of the roof, trying to figure out who is his boss. He ain't saying nothing. He said, if I talk, I'm pretty much as good as dead. I mean, look at this guy. I couldn't figure out if this guy was Eddie George or The Rock. Looked like he's been smoking those purple rocks from the looks of it. And they end up throwing him off the roof with a rope, thinking that he was going to survive. The rope ended up breaking. And Ghostface was like, man, you think he's, alive? Man, are you crazy? This man gone. That's 12 stories up. This probably was one of the funniest parts of the episode, man. I was cracking up. Like, really? You thought this man ended up surviving that? So they end up getting up out of there. They know, or at least they saw on the news, that it was connected to the police. And now they know who did this. They're like, okay, it's Greco. He was the one that set all of this up. And now Greco, he is going to arrest them. This is all a part of Ray's plan to get back at him. And they willingly just get arrested. They know what time it is. And luckily, Ray thought of this game plan to, catch this guy slipping. We know Greco was not about to bring them in. He was preparing to take them out because he cannot have them, be a threat to him. He tells him, yes, he was the one that set up the whole hit on Bobby because he didn't want to pay him the money. And he says that Lex was getting entirely too strong. And he mentions that the police, law enforcement, is pretty much the biggest gang in America. In all those hits, they planned on taking out Tony. They was not supposed to take out Lex, but since he was there, so be it. Now, all of a sudden, a car smashes right into them. It's Cap. Cap decided to leave his uncle's job, I guess, and come and save the day. Now your boy Greco, he's all bloodied up. He ain't looking too good. And then we see Ray take him out, which needed to happen because dude was running his mouth in that car. I mean, he wasn't shut up at all, talking about you think you smarter than me, you's a pawn, all this stuff. Well, it looks like you lost the game of chess. Now, we get to the end of the episode. We see Divine. He's a cop. We end up learning that he was, on Bobby's payroll. Bobby brought him in because we know Greco was putting a lot of pressure on him, trying to shake him down. So he decided to have somebody on law enforcement on his side. But we know Greco came back at them very, very hard. Now, Bobby ends up giving Lex his props, telling him he held it down. And now it's probably, time for him to step up and have his own crew to make even more money. And then we see that purple product one last time. It changes into the purple tape that we know and of course have seen time and time again. When we talking about this Wu-Tang story, this is why I told you it was pretty much a parallel between the drug game and the rap game. I really like how they did that. And I did hear that originally it was supposed to be like a green tape. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's the story behind like a green tape within this story. And on the table, we can see the collection of different colors of those tapes. But y'all let me know what y'all think about that down below. Now, we see at the end of the episode, conversation with Danny about the color of this cassette tape. And he's talking about, man, I don't know if we can do that. We got to talk to Steve first. But Ray ain't having that. He's like, dog, this is my album. It's going to be purple. You know what I'm saying? I don't care what you talking about. We going to have it my way, plain and simple. So that's exactly what ended up happening. But man, I'm glad he's standing his ground. And at the end of the episode, we can see the guys on the street put the tape in and they start playing that criminology. And like I told you guys, man, this was a solid episode. I really did enjoy it. I know a lot of people don't like the movie type episodes, but I think this was, easy to understand with those parallels from the drug game to the rap game to the beef between Ray and Biggie, the whole 90s themed out gangster cinema who shot you vibes. I mean, it was crazy, especially using that Biggie, parallel, because we know Biggie and Tupac, they was going back and forth, who shot you, the East Coast, West Coast stuff. So for them to put that type of story inside this episode, it was brilliant in my opinion. But we're going to see what's going to happen next within this show. We got, 4 more episodes left. I can't wait to see what they're going to do with it, man. But y'all let me know if I missed any parallels, because I'm pretty sure I did. It was a lot. I also did like how they used the original music in this episode. I did see a lot of you guys mention how y'all like that. So hopefully they continue to do it as these episodes air out. But I want to thank you guys once again for all the love, all the support, and I will catch y'all on the next one. But let me get up on out of here, man. It's your boy Mark Dark. I'm out. Peace.